crazy, right? Like how fast public opinion can change about people.
Oh, yeah.
Especially celebrities.
Totally.
When it comes to like grief
Uh-huh.
and new relationships and all that.
Yeah.
So today we're diving deep into the buzz around Allison Holker.
Okay.
You know, her and her late husband, Stephen Twitch Boss.
Yes.
That amazing dance couple from So You Think You Can Dance.
Absolutely.
Tragically, Twitch passed away back in 2022.
Yeah.
And Allison's new relationship is making headlines.
It is.
And some people are really supportive.
Right.
And others are...
Less so.
Not so much.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation that's got a lot of people talking.
For sure.
And it brings up all these really interesting issues. Like, we're talking about societal expectations around grief, the scrutiny that always seems to be on interracial relationships.
Yeah.
And, of course, just the weight of public opinion in general.
Right.
Especially for someone like Allison Holker, who's so in the public eye.
Right. So let's break it down. This article from the Atlanta Black Star, it really shows the range of reactions people are having. Some think she's moving on too fast. Others are like, hey, it's her life. Let her be happy.
Right. Right.
It's wild how much people care about other people's personal lives. Right?
It is fascinating, isn't it?
It is. But it does make you think about how we all grieve so differently.
Absolutely. And that's what's really interesting here.
Yeah.
This situation shows there's no one right way to grieve.
Right.
It's not a checklist, you know? You don't just tick off boxes and poof, you're over it. Psychologists talk about the Kubler-Ross model with stages like denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
Right.
But even that's just a framework.
Right.
Not like a strict step-by-step.
And grief isn't always just sadness either.
Yeah,
right?
not at all.
There's guilt, confusion, even sometimes relief.
Definitely.
It's complicated.
Messy.
It is.
And it hits everyone in their own way.
So true.
And this idea that there's a right amount of time to grieve, it's just a problem.
It is.
Putting that kind of judgment on other people,
Yeah.
it just hurts.
It really does.
What might seem way too soon to one person
Right.
could be totally healthy and necessary for someone else.
I've felt that pressure before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, am I allowed to be happy yet? Should I still be sad?
Yeah.
It can feel really isolating.
It can.
And then add in everyone watching you all the time.
Oh, especially for someone like Allison Holker.
Right.
Every move she makes is under a microscope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's got to be intense.
In this case, it's even more complex because of the interracial element.
Right.
Some people are commenting on Allison's new partner being white after her children with Twitch, who are mixed race.
Yeah.
It's like they're judging her commitment to her kid's racial identity.
Right. It's like they're saying because she's with a white person now,
Right.
it means her kids won't connect with their Black heritage.
Exactly.
That speaks to some of the bias that's still out there.
For sure.
About interracial relationships.
Absolutely. And that's not new.
Sadly not.
Throughout history, interracial relationships have been scrutinized.
Yep.
And a lot of times that's rooted in racism.
Absolutely.
Right.
Think about the one-drop rule.
Oh, yeah.
This idea that any amount of Black ancestry
Right.
made someone Black,
Yeah.
regardless of how they identified.
Yeah.
That was used to enforce segregation.
It's sad to see that kind of bias still around.
Yeah.
Even if it's not as obvious as it used to be.
Right.
But here's what's really interesting.
Okay, what's that?
Allison and Twitch actually spoke about this back in 2020
They did.
in an interview.
Oh, wow.
They knew their children would face challenges being biracial, especially in America,
Makes sense.
and they seemed very aware of it
Yeah.
and wanted to be proactive.
That's great.
They talked about how important it is to teach their kids about their Black heritage and to advocate for racial equality.
Good for them.
They even admitted that Allison,
Coming from a mostly white community,
yeah,
had some learning to do herself.
that's great that they acknowledged that.
Yeah, it really seemed like they were committed to raising their children with a strong sense of self.
In a world that can be
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah, that doesn't always embrace diversity.
Definitely.
I think that says a lot about their parenting.
It does.
And it pushes back against those assumptions people are making about Allison.
Right.
Just because of her new partner's race.
You can't just look at a picture
No.
and know how someone's raising their kids
They-
or what values they're instilling.
Exactly.
So are we holding certain people to different standards then?
That's a good question.
Based on their race or gender or other things?
Yeah.
Are we automatically assuming that a white partner
Yeah.
means a child won't be connected to their Black heritage?
That kind of thinking is really unfair.
It is. It can be very limiting too.
And it's easy to fall into those traps.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when all we see is a tiny glimpse of someone's life.
Right, like with celebrities.
Exactly. We're missing so much context.
We don't see those everyday moments.
Nope.
The conversations, the values being shared within the family.
And yet we judge so quickly.
We do. It's human nature, I guess.
So true.
This whole situation is a reminder to be more mindful about the assumptions we make and how we see other people's choices.
It's about recognizing our own biases.
Absolutely.
And challenging them.
And being willing to.
Yeah.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's about extending grace.
Yes.
Even when we don't totally get someone's choices.
And remembering that behind all the headlines, behind all the social media comments, there are real people with real emotion.
Dealing with complex situations.
Exactly.
Well said. This is a lot to think about.
It is.
I think it's a perfect place to start our deep dive into the public reaction to all this.
I agree.
Okay.
Let's explore how this situation with Allison connects to these bigger conversations we're having as a society.
Yes.
About grief, about race, and about the constant pressure of public opinion.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. You know, it's interesting.
What's that?
When you look at how the public is reacting, there's this really strong reaction to the timeline of her grief.
Okay.
Like how long it's been.
Right.
Some of those comments in the article, they were really harsh.
Yeah.
Like accusing her of not respecting Twitch's memory.
Wow.
Because she's moving on so soon.
Yeah, it's like people have this idea in their heads about how long someone should mourn.
Right.
And if she doesn't fit into that box,
yeah,
then she's doing something wrong.
Exactly.
But isn't that kind of
I think so.
missing the point of grief?
Totally. We can't tell someone how long to grieve.
Right.
Or what it should look like.
It's different for everyone.
It is. It's like saying everyone who breaks a leg will heal at the same speed.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that. It ignores the individual, you know, their support system, their personality, even their culture.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like, think about how different cultures have different ways of mourning.
Right. Some are really public.
Yes.
Others are very private.
And even within the same culture, people cope differently.
Totally.
Some people throw themselves into work. Others need to be alone.
Yeah.
Some people talk about it a lot. Others keep it inside.
And there's no right way.
Nope.
Do you think it's possible that for someone like Allison, finding a new relationship could actually be part of how she heals?
Absolutely. I think love and connection, they can be incredibly powerful for healing.
For sure.
It doesn't mean she loved Twitch any less.
Right.
It's just another part of her experience.
It's about finding those moments of joy.
Yeah.
When you're in so much pain.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about their kids.
Oh,
they're going through so much.
They're losing a parent is incredibly difficult.
And now their mom has a new relationship.
It's a lot for them to process.
It is. And it reminds us that we can't just assume that we know what's best for someone else's family.
You really can't.
Especially when we're only seeing a tiny piece of their lives.
Right. Just what the media shows us.
Celebrities are real people.
They are.
With real families.
With real problems.
And their lives are so much more complicated
than what we see on Instagram.
Exactly.
Here in the headlines.
And then add in the issue of race.
Right.
And the unique things interracial families deal with.
It's another layer of complexity.
We talked about it before, but some of those comments, they really show how much bias is still out there.
Especially about Black and white relationships.
Yeah. It's a reminder that progress takes time.
It does.
We may have legal equality.
But there's still so much work to do.
To get rid of those deep-seated biases and stereotypes.
It's true.
Like the way some people fetishize biracial children. They focus on their looks.
Right, like there's some ideal of beauty.
Yeah, but that's so objectifying.
It is.
It reduces them to just their appearance.
Instead of seeing them as whole people.
Right. And those attitudes, even if they seem like compliments, they contribute to this othering of biracial people.
They do. They make them seem different.
Like they don't belong.
Not fully in either group.
And it undermines the work that parents like Allison and Twitch were doing.
Yeah.
To help their kids feel good about themselves.
And proud of their heritage.
No matter how the world sees them.
It's about representation.
Yes.
Seeing more interracial families in a positive light.
It helps change those narrow ideas that society has.
And it opens up space for acceptance.
It's about making these relationships normal.
Exactly.
Not something to stare at or judge.
Just another way to have a family.
And biracial people bring so much to our society.
They do. They have such a unique perspective.
They bridge different cultures.
And challenge those rigid ideas about race.
We need to hear their voices.
We do. Their stories are important.
So this situation with Allison Holker,
Yeah,
it's challenging
it is.
and nuanced,
For sure.
but it gives us a chance to talk about these things
To look at our own biases.
and be more compassionate to each other,
It's about looking past the surface.
past the headlines,
And the judgments.
and remembering that we're all human.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
we're all just trying to figure life out
doing the best we can.
with what we've got.
And a little empathy can go a long way.
It really can.
We've talked about a lot.
We have.
From grief to
Yeah.
interracial relationships
Right.
and how much public opinion can affect people.
Yeah. And it's fascinating.
It is.
How this one situation.
With Allison,
Yeah.
Allison Holker and her new relationship,
Brings it all together.
it's like a microcosm of so many bigger conversations.
Right. Like it makes us look at
Yeah,
how we judge other people.
how we deal with loss.
And how we navigate this world that's becoming more and more diverse. It's easy to get caught up in the outrage.
Especially online.
Oh, totally. With social media.
You see a headline,
A soundbite.
a post on Instagram,
And we jump to conclusions.
and we even know the whole story.
A lot of times those quick judgments,
Yeah,
they come from our own biases.
like we're projecting our own experiences onto others.
Exactly, without thinking about their situation.
So how do we stop doing that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I think it starts with curiosity.
Okay.
Instead of judging right away.
Yeah.
Just pause
Yeah.
and ask yourself, what am I missing here?
Okay.
What could this person be going through?
That I don't know about.
Exactly, what are the reasons?
It's about challenging those gut reactions.
And digging a little deeper.
Yeah. Like that
That's
saying,
my short.
be kind. Everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.
Yeah, I like that one.
We never really know what's going on in other people's lives.
Nope.
So why not be kind?
Give them the benefit of the doubt.
What if instead of tearing people down,
Yeah.
we tried to build each other up,
What if we listen to those different perspectives?
even if we don't agree with them?
Imagine the world we could create.
If we had more compassion,
And curiosity.
it starts with us,
Yeah, it does with each of us.
being aware of our own biases
And being open to different ways of seeing things.
and giving people the benefit of the doubt
Creating a space where people feel safe.
to be themselves
Share their stories.
without being judged,
Because connecting with each other.
even when it's hard.
That's what makes a better world.
Well, this whole deep dive
Yeah,
has given me so much to think about.
me too.
It reminds me that life is messy
Uh-huh.
and people are complicated.
And there are no easy answers.
Nope, and that's okay.
It's in those gray areas
Yeah.
where we really connect with each other.
Learn and grow.
I want to thank you all for listening.
Yes, thanks for joining us on this journey.
I hope this deep dive got you thinking.
And maybe even challenge some of your perspectives.
Keep the conversation going.
Ask questions
Try to understand the world around you
with empathy.
and an open mind.
And a huge thank you to the OtisWho Network out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Yes, they're all about having these meaningful conversations.
So check them out.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.